The name of this lesson is Exposing Satan, the Devil, the Serpent, the Dragon. The first thing we want to do is look in Revelation, the 12th chapter of the 9th verse. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world. Not just part of the world, the whole world. So you could say to yourself, I'm deceived. I was deceived, just like we're all deceived until we are born again into God's kingdom. Then you're no longer of this world, see, and you're no longer deceived. Because why? Because you found the truth, and the truth is Jesus Christ. So you're set free from the captivity of Satan. Satan is referred to as the god of this world. If you look in 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter, the 4th verse, it says, in whom the god of this world, and when it says God, it's a small g. That's not referring to the one true God. That's referring to something else, okay? This is a symbol. And, Satan is called the god of this world, but it's a small g, and has blinded the minds of them which believe not, unless the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is in the image of God, should shine upon them. You understand? It's a rebirth, a spiritual rebirth, like an awakening where you're still here physically, but you have a new spirit within you. You are now a new creature in Christ. Do you understand? And like I said, you're no longer of this world. And now you can see with your spiritual eyes, so to speak. And that's what it is. It's an opening of your spiritual eyes. That happened for me in March of 2012 through an incredible experience that took part within about maybe a 2-week period. During that process, I did see Satan. He was about a couple feet away from me. I was walking down the stairs at a public event in Louisville, Kentucky, and I didn't realize it was him until a week later. It's not like I walked down and God told me that that's Satan sitting right there. That's not how it happened. My eyes were drawn to a man sitting by himself, and he had a smirk on his face. I could not see his eyes. I was walking downstairs, so it was from a downward view. I could just see his side profile. And you know what he looked like? He looks like a man. And that's exactly that really changed my whole perspective about Satan. It's incredible what he's done in this world. You can't even hardly search out all the things that he's done. He likes for people to be afraid of him. You should never, never be afraid of him. I've seen him. There's nothing to be afraid of. But he's certainly not a red figure with a pitchfork. He's very intelligent, he's clever, he's cunning, and he also is a liar, because he's the greatest deceiver in the world, of course. First, we're going to look at Luke, the 4th chapter, starting with the 5th verse, and I'm just going to paraphrase here because I'm not going to read it word for word. This is when Jesus is led by his Spirit out into the wilderness. Now, there's 2 different wildernesses. There's a physical wilderness, like the woods, thick jungle, forest. And then there's the spiritual wilderness. Jesus did not go out into some wilderness like a jungle. He didn't. That's not what it means. It's a spiritual wilderness. And that's hard to explain what that is. But it's it's where we live, really. You and I are in the wilderness that Satan has created. We'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, it says that the devil took him up on a high mountain and showed to him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment. And the devil said unto him, all this power will I give to you, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, to whomsoever I will give it to. In other words, all the kingdoms of the world that he created are his to give to whoever he wants. And he's offering us to Jesus if we'd fall down and worship me. And Jesus tells him, "Get behind me, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shall you serve." So he's offering all these kingdoms. So what we're going to do is look at some of these kingdoms. Some of these kingdoms have been around, obviously, before Christ, because Satan has been around this world much longer than Jesus in this world. But there's a couple of questions you might have. Are these kingdoms really Satan's, or is Satan just lying about that? These are kingdoms that Satan indeed has created. But keep in mind, the way he creates them is only by temptation. He tempts people, and this is how he influences people. He can't make people physically do things, this and that. It's by his own temptations does he deceive the world. We're going to take a look at the kingdoms that he has created. And some of these kingdoms have been around since before the time of Christ. But we're going to take a good look. We're going to start in China.